Welcome back. So, last time we read was probably one of the most exciting chapters and scary. So, Taylor was taken by Dr. Hatch and the whole gang were taken to the motocross games, and Dr. Hatch asked Taylor to reboot somebody during the middle of one of their tricks, and she refused to do it. So now he's locked her in this dark cell where she's getting tortured by Nichelle. So, let's see what happens next. Chapter 33, The Lesson. Taylor was curled up on her side, shaking with pain. Her clothes were soaked with sweat and her face was streaked with tears. Please stop, she sobbed. Please. I'll stop when Dr. Hatch tells me to stop. You're one of us. How could you do this to us? It's what I do. You hurt others. We all do what we were born to do. Out there, I'm no one. If it weren't for the academy, I'd be flipping hamburgers somewhere. But in here, I'm a VIP. You're a sellout, Michelle sneered. Aren't you the saint? In the end, everyone sells out, even the saints. You're wrong, Taylor said, her voice strange. Some people would rather die than hurt others. Well, you might just get your wish. She walked over and slapped Taylor on the head. Did I hear you're a cheerleader? She cleared her throat. Were a cheerleader? Taylor didn't answer. I hate cheerleaders. Stuck up, shallow imbeciles. She crouched down next to Taylor. Don't you know how stupid you look out there shaking your pom poms? At least I'm not hurting anyone. No, how about all those girls who wanted to be cheerleaders and weren't pretty enough or popular enough? You think you're so good. It's easy to be good when everyone's kissing your feet, when you have perfect skin and teeth. She grabbed Taylor by the hair and lifted her head. And here you're no one, cheerleader. You remember that. You can't even walk unless I say so. If they let me, I can drain you like a bathtub and watch you die. So how about a cheer for me? Because I'm here. I'm the star quarterback. Until they don't need you anymore, Taylor said. Then you'll be thrown out with the rest of the trash. Nichelle yanked Taylor's hair. Don't push your luck, cheerleader. Nichelle growled. I don't always stop when they tell me to. She let go of Taylor's hair, and Taylor fell to the ground. Well, they'll always need me. As long as there's mutants like you out there, they'll need me. Nichelle stood up. And our session isn't over yet, so just sit back and enjoy yourself. She smiled darkly. I know I will. Wow, what a sadistic kid. I also feel bad for Nichelle though, because she's definitely brainwashed and being forced to do stuff she doesn't want to do, just like Taylor is. Chapter 34, Purgatory. Taylor was still unconscious when she was being taken by Gurney from the holding room into a reinforced cell. She had no idea what time it was when she woke or how long she'd been out. She was lying on her stomach on a vinyl mat that was too short for her. Her head was throbbing and she groaned with pain. She couldn't see much. The only light in the room was a series of small red diodes blinking from the security cameras. And she was even more afraid than before. She thought of her home, her mother and father and brothers, and began crying. I want to go home, she said to herself. I know, a boy's voice said softly. Oh my gosh, there's a boy in there. Okay, I'm going to guess that this is the boy that he said was over in Paris. She was startled by the voice. She tried to crawl away but couldn't. She couldn't move. Be still, I'm not going to hurt you. He gently touched her. She could feel his skin against hers, and she entered his mind. It was peaceful and soft and safe. Taylor looked up. Her eyes had adjusted some to the darkness, and she could see kneeling next to her was an African American boy. He appeared to be about her age, though he was much larger than her. He was kneeling next to her and gently stroking her back. She could see the pale glow of his skin. He was one of them. Please don't hurt me, Taylor said. I won't hurt you, Taylor. I'm a friend. You know my name? Yes. Who are you? My name is Ian. You're one of them, she said. I'm one of you, not them. Where are we? We're on level D. This is where they put the disobedient ones. We call it purgatory. Who's we? There are 3 of us who don't obey Hatch. 4 counting you. So what did you do? Or I should ask, what didn't you do? Sorry, my phone was ringing. Okay, back to the story. Hatch wanted me to cause an accident at the motorcycle show. I could have killed the rider. That's one of Hatch's tricks. Tricks? First, he tries to buy you. He makes you feel obligated so he can manipulate you by guilt. If you're stronger than that, he tries to get you to do something wrong, something small at first, and then he increases it. Once you cross the line, he has you. He will hold it over you forever, and he keeps upping the ante. You're lucky down here, because if you were still up there, you'd be a murderer. My sister Tara's not a murderer. Yes, she is. Tara, Brian, Zeus, Quentin, Grace, Kylie, Michelle, Tanner. They've all sold out. That's why they're up there and we're down here. She's my sister. She's your twin, Ian said. She was younger than most of us when they started with her. She couldn't fully grasp what she was being asked to do until it was too late. Taylor tried to move, but the pain made her groan. Just stay still. Michelle's drained the juice out of you. It takes a while to come back. He left her side, then returned with a cup of water. Have something to drink. It helps. Ian guided the cup to Taylor's lips. She drank thirstily. When she had finished drinking, she asked, Did they do this to you? Yes, many times, but not as bad. I think they mostly keep me here because my powers aren't as aggressive, so I'm not as valuable to them. That and because I'm blind. You're blind? My eyes are. I'm not. I don't understand. I can see, just not with my eyes. I see the same way sharks and electric eels see, through electrolocation. Instead of using light waves to see, I use electric waves. Taylor remembered learning about that in biology. Electrolocation has its advantages, like it doesn't matter if it's day or night, and I can see through solid objects. You can too, of course, as long as the object permits light waves to pass through them, like glass or ice, but most solids don't. I can see through anything electrons can pass through. You can see outside these walls? I can see outside the school, unless Michelle's around, then I'm blind. Can you see me? Yes, you look just like Tara. Ian sat back on his haunches. I have no way of comparing my sight to yours, since I've never seen through my eyes, but I have a pretty good idea of the difference between your sight and mine. I can also see glows, and I can see how their power is used. Like Hatch's glasses, Taylor said. Ian nodded. Yeah, they studied me to learn how to make them. You know, this place is the laboratory. They're constantly doing experiments. Michelle said they're going to dissect me. A dead glow does them no good. She just knows how to frighten you. It's what she's good at. How long have you been here? 3 years. Taylor began to cry. I can't do it. You will. You're stronger than you think you are. Taylor buried her head in her hands. I want to introduce you to the others. There's others here? Like I said, there's 3 of us. In spite of the pain, Taylor lifted her head and looked around. To her surprise, there were 2 other girls. One was Chinese, the other was a blonde with eyes blue enough that Taylor could see them in the room's lighting. Both of them were glowing. That's McKenna, Ian said. The Chinese girl nodded. Hi. Hi, Taylor said. And that's Abigail, Ian said. Hello, Taylor said. Abigail knelt down next to her. Hi, Taylor. I'm going to touch you, she said softly. It won't hurt, I promise. Abigail gently pressed her hand against Taylor's back, and Taylor felt a light wave pass through her body, taking away all her pain and fear. Taylor exhaled with relief. What are you doing to me? I'm taking away your pain for a moment. You're healing me? Abigail shook her head. No, I can't do that. I can only take away pain while I'm touching you. But when I stop, it will come back. It feels so good right now. I'll do it for as long as I can, she said kindly. It takes effort, but maybe I can hold out long enough for you to fall asleep. Thank you, Abigail. You can call me Abby. Thank you, Abby. You're welcome. Now try to get some sleep. Taylor closed her eyes and buried her head in her arms. Before she fell asleep, she said, I love you, Abby. Abigail smiled. I love you too. All right, that was a short one, but we're going to stop there for today.